We can start. Hello, dear colleagues, those who have already joined us, those who are still joining. This event is now taking place on Zoom. It's also broadcast on Facebook, and we are recording it, so you will be able to watch it later or share with your colleagues and those who may be interested. My name is Tatiana Zheryobkina. I am a coordinator and analyst with NGO Setos. You are at the third workshop at the series of community opportunities with EU funding. This is taking place within the project, reinforcing the community's opportunities to participate in EU programs, which is supported by the EU and the International Renaissance Foundation as part of the initiative European Renaissance of Ukraine. At the previous two workshops, we looked at the existing opportunities for communities. We looked in detail at the application process. And today, our colleagues will share their experience of project implementation with the support of EU programs, and also how to set up successful partner cooperation with municipalities of other countries. So today we are going to listen to key recommendations about preparing and submitting applications. We will look at advice at possible difficulties and how to overcome them. And we will look at the experience of Ukrainian-German-Polish partnership. Today we have our speakers with us, Maria Levenchuk, head of the Vinnytsia representation. Carl Ribeiro, Executive Director of Landscape Laboratory, and Maxim Terletsky, Director of the Lviv Institute. If you have any questions or comments, you can write them in the chat where you are looking at us. It can be on Zoom or on Facebook. We are going to share them with our speakers at the last session after these three presentations, or you can ask them on your own during this Q&A session. Once again, this workshop is being recorded, and later you will be able to use it to watch it and share it. So I would like to invite Maria to speak. Yes, hello. Let me share my presentation with you. Can you see the presentation? Yes, we do. Wonderful. Okay. Then welcome everyone. Thank you for the invitation and for the introduction. I am indeed in European Committee of Regions. This is the liaison office, but we still function in quite an isolated way. These are two separate establishments, but I will talk a bit more about this later. And what I would like to start with is that any project activities and any interaction with international partners has to be very closely connected with the strategic development of the city. It has to be connected with goals that the city sets for itself, that the community sets for itself, or the region does. And thus, internal strategic documents enable strategic planning of project activities, including submission of grant proposals and receiving various international aid. We have three main documents for Vinnytsia that form the vision of the city's strategic development. The first is the concept of integrated development by 2030. Also, the strategy of development of Vinnytsia territorial community by 2030. And also Vinnytsia's green course. This is every one of them contains a list of goals that the community sets for itself and the list of prioritized projects. Here, when it comes to the Green Deal, you can see that apart from the existing accomplishments, we have several projects that we are implementing with the help of grant funding. For instance, projects on Vinnytsia small rivers, Vinnytsia meadows, and so on. So they are mostly dedicated to biodiversity and water. And we also strategically integrated it into Vinnytsia Green Deal. So these projects were identified as priority when the strategy was being formed. Overall, apart from us having this idea of strategic planning of project implementation, of city development. Of course, the war affected a lot of our priorities. And among other things, we have this inner need to update these um, uh, strategies, and we are now implementing this process because the war also affected the city's budget, particularly the opportunity and priority of international aid. Obviously, at the start of the war, the main focus of international aid was on humanitarian aid because the Vinnytsia headquarters of humanitarian aid was formed. We received we received 1,540 tons of humanitarian aid, and a lot of international partners joined this process, particularly our sister cities and partner cities. So, from every city, we received a letter at the beginning of the full-scale invasion that they wanted to help, that they wanted to send humanitarian aid, help in this or that format. During the war, we were also able to create new sisterhood. It was with the city of Karlsruhe in Germany. And recently, we don't have this on this slide, but we also signed a three-way agreement um, with Karlsruhe and a French city. Our work with our sister cities and partner cities is, of course, a win-win approach, and we want our international partners to be definitely interested in our joint projects. So we are trying, when we look for international partners, trying to understand what we can offer as a city, what we can provide to for this partnership, because it is very important to show this balance in partnership, that we can also be useful, that we can also be interesting and share our experience. Of course, currently based on our experience, European cities may not necessarily be very active in sisterhood programs. Many cities believe this is quite an outdated concept. So we also, mm, okay, we also have the simplified concept of partner cities, which is when there is a partnership not in every category of city development, which is envisioned in sister cities, but this is about specific work on some specific project or project, and you don't sign some framework agreement on every concept of city development. Mm, you can also see multiple international organizations here that we work with, interact with. There are also two networks here. Apologies. Do you hear the phone call now? Because I see that somebody's calling and the computer doesn't want to switch me to the tab so I can end it. Sorry. Okay. You see two networks here. This year, Vinnytsia joined the Eurocities network. And also, we started the process of joining the ICLEI network. And here you can actually see a lot of our international partners. And I will tell you a bit more about our partnership with the European Committee of the Regions, because last year we started working with this European institution. In particular, in July 2023, we joined the Alliance of European Cities and Regions for the recovery of Ukraine. This is an alliance of European cities and also several organizations that, among other things, are managed by the European Committee of the Regions. And every month there is a meeting of the alliance where partners within this alliance share various opportunities for Ukrainian cities and regions. And this alliance is focused on local reconstruction, local recovery, and thus, through the activity of this alliance, we also often learn about a lot of different opportunities uh, for reconstruction projects, for grant projects, and more. So, if you are a representative of a Ukrainian city or region, I really recommend that you learn more about the activity of the alliance on the website of the European Committee of the Regions, and maybe also send an email to the European Committee of the Regions so you can join. This is a great opportunity. Lviv also is part of the alliance, and not just Lviv. A lot of Ukrainian communities have joined this alliance. After we started this process of interacting with the European Committee of the Regions to join the alliance, we also started developing a resolution on the procedure of representation of Vinnytsia Municipal Territorial Community in the European Committee of the Regions in Brussels. How did we manage to start this representation, this branch office? Mm, um, a working group of Ukraine made a decision on supporting uh, Ukrainian cities and regions, and they provide office space to start such branches. Our colleagues from Lviv became the first, the pioneers in this. They started their office first. Now we also have offices of Dnipro, Kharkiv, Lutsk, Vinnytsia. In addition, there are also representatives of several associations, the Association of Ukrainian Cities, Association of Communities, and so on. And while preparing this decision, we also prepared for opening of this office, and the official launch was on the 30th of November last year. So we have been working for half a year now officially. There are currently two main vectors of the office. It is strengthening and develop international partnerships, and also research and facilitation of filing project proposals for grant funding funded by the EU, but also by other institutions and foundations. And actually, it is this office that started a lot of systemic changes that we are working on now internally in Vinnytsia City Council, so that we can systematize the work with grant projects.
Here I would like to show the internal architecture available. We have two main city council departments working with international cooperation and international aid by the means of great communal enterprise, the Institute of the Development of the City and the Department of Development and Reconstruction. When we started the process of creation of the branch office in Brussels, uh, Vinnytsia citizens started to join us. The Vinnytsia citizens who are now abroad, they started to join us, and we started creating the board of ambassadors of Vinnytsia city. Me, as the head of the representatives of Vinnytsia city in Brussels and in Belgium, I'm an ambassador, and my colleague Victoria Vdovichenko is ambassador in Italy and Great Britain. Also, we have an ambassador in the USA, and we're trying to engage the citizens of Vinnytsia, including those who make part of Ukrainian diaspora, of Ukrainian global community, because at the moment, 6.9 Ukrainians are currently living in the European Union, and it's a huge resource that we can use in order to create these linear international connections. And at this stage, Vinnytsia City Council has undertaken to systemize this cooperation interaction to engage the citizens of Vinnytsia who are currently staying abroad. Also, we have started the creation of project office in line with the ambassador board. What has been done and what we're planning to do? First of all, we realized that if we want to implement our projects and if we want to apply for the grants, we need to be systematic, because before that it was rather chaotic. Each department, each communal enterprise, based on its internal needs and taking into account the city strategy, were able to apply to different potential grants. Sometimes it was successful, sometimes not, but of course this was not some regular process. It was rather chaotic, and let's say it's the reconstruction department. They have other tasks and other functionalities globally within their department. So they were not applying for grants systematically. So we understood that there is a problem, that each organization is writing grant applications in their own way. There is no unified system um, which could be used to support each city unit to make this grant application proper, and to make this grant application the one that can succeed. So that's why we decided to implement the operative tools to prepare the project for Vinnytsia community. Here on the screen, you can see QR code. If you scan it, you can have a look at the document. And what were the main elements of this decision? To give more structure to grant application process, there was a single base of projects created for the Vinnytsia community. This means that each department or each enterprise have certain number of programs that they are currently implemented. We created the unified project form. It's one page in the form of questionnaire. Each department needs to fill in this questionnaire. Then it goes to the database, and people working with grants can go to this database and check what kind of projects are ongoing in the city. And based on this, they can select the grant. Also, we created a catalog of project possibilities, so the representatives of any department can go to this database and check open grant possibilities that could be applied for. Also, we realized that not always people have enough competencies to work with grant applications. Right, drafting a grant application is a big challenge. If we want work with European Union grant possibilities, English language is essential. Not always in all the departments people have good knowledge of English. That's why we started some project management trainings and practical training that included workshops on writing grant applications. The Department of Reconstruction and Development was dealing with the development of this program, but as to international help and grant application, it was the Institute of the City that was dealing with the architecture. Has not been finally approved yet. We're dealing with the development of the decisions. But what is architecture? Why it is needed? So we have created database of all the projects of the city. There is a catalog of the possibilities. That is great, but it was not really working yet because people lack some competencies, as I mentioned, so we decided to give some trainings, but it needs a lot of time. And solution here, in our opinion, is the creation of grant writing office that would be a part of this architecture and will help other departments and communal enterprises to submit this grant application. So those would be the people who are dealing professionally with grant activities, and in such a way they can help to form these applications and to make sure they're of proper qualities. Well, the architecture concept was made, but there is no document drafted yet, and it hasn't been approved yet, so I cannot share all the details at this stage. But once it's finalized, we would be happy to transfer these possibilities, these documents, hand over these documents to our colleagues to use the possibilities. You can monitor the status of this at our city council website. Also, we realized that the next element really needed to make this work more systematic is the reviewed strategy for international cooperation for Minitsa territorial community. Why this is important? Last time this strategy was reviewed in 2019 before COVID pandemic and full-scale invasion, and international cooperation was going on, but there was no internal program documents. During the full-scale invasion, the communication with international partners increased, more stakeholders came in, more projects were open. We were able to open these representatives due to the support of European Community of Region. We realized that this strategy is essential to put all this together because international cooperation are the grants and international technical help, and these things are interconnected. And if they will be worked on strategically together, it will be much more effective. At the moment, we are at the stage of planning, and we are engaging the experts to the development of the strategy. We hope we will be able to develop it by the end of the year. Why I'm talking so much about the systematic approach? I will just show you a couple of examples of the projects that were implemented using the grant funds. The oldest project like this is the cooperation with European Council within the program Intercultural Cities. Back in 2018, we started the development of the document Intercultural Strategy of Vinnytsia City Territorial Community Strategy, and it was adopted only in 2022. This project was implemented with the support of the Council of Europe, and the Institute of the Development of the City was the manager of this process. Also, was a project that was funded within the framework of EU for Culture program. Well, the Department of Culture of Vinnytsia Territorial Community Council developed the strategies. There were a lot of events on culture, for example, territory sun residents, and this is a project implemented at the basis of former recreation facility for children, which is located in one of the districts of our cities, and Department of Culture together with several organizations, with the help of EU for Culture, are developing the plan of restoration for this territory. It will no longer be the recreational facility for children, but taking into account a lot of festivals that took place there. Ticket to the Sun, Environmental Protection Festival, and many others. So now this territory will be developed as a city space for cultural and environmental tourism. And it became possible because the city and the civil society organizations took part in EU for Culture program. Also, there is one great project which started in May, very recently, UCAN project from Horizon of Europe about the Association of Ukrainian Cities. It's the part of the mission of climately neutral cities in the Europe, and Vinnytsia is one of the pilot cities in this project, and we're going to implement two things. First, the strategy of restoration of city diversity and special conception for the development of Tezhirivka River. Lviv city and Khmelnytsky city are taking part together with us in this project. This project is aimed for 4 years, and actually it's the first project within Horizon Europe program, and I'm very happy that it happened due to the help of the branch office of representative office of Vinnytsia City in Brussels, because we prepared to create the application. As I said, this project is aimed for 4 years, and it will be managed by the Institute of the City Developments. Also, Vinnytsia was granted the status of Observer City in Intelligent Cities Challenge project funded by European Commission. The city doesn't receive any direct funding through this program, but since we are the Observer City, we have the possibility to take part in different training and network meetings and to have access to the database of this Intelligent City Challenge program. And it helps to develop different internal programs and documents. And this is not the program of European Union, but still, for more than 15 years, we've been having a strategic cooperation with GIZ in Ukraine and the Institute of the Development of the Cities. From the very beginning, was created with the support of GIZ. The Department of Economy and Investments is moderating a program, and due to this program, there is a reconstruction of Vinnytsky Innovation Park Crystal. This construction started before the war. Then during the full-scale invasion, it was suspended. Now we are funding the construction of the first object and facility, and we hope it will be commissioned soon. And it was possible because Vinnytsia City received the grant for the reconstruction works.
And this is also currently moderated by another unit, Department of Economy and Investment. As for the latest interesting projects, we also started cooperation with the Konrad Adenauer Foundation. They helped us develop a study on green jobs in Vinnytsia territorial community. Last week, there was a presentation of the study, of its results. And in October, this is a preliminary announcement so far. but we are planning to present the results of this research, and we are going to discuss what are green jobs, why they are important in the context of Ukraine's recovery. And we are also going to do that as part of the uh, Regions Week organized by the Committee of the Regions in Brussels, and they are going to facilitate this event and this administration. So I also really recommend following the page of the committee on LinkedIn or the page of Vinnytsia office in Brussels on LinkedIn, because we are going to have announcements about that. Now you see that all projects that I named are actually distributed through various departments, various units in the city, and that's okay because these are executive agencies. They received an opportunity to do that from their partners, and they are now implementing that. But in order for such projects to be more, so that they become more high quality, we are now doing things that are not necessarily visible. Because when we speak about grants, because even the preparation of the application can take more than a month depending on the program, and it may not necessarily be productive and effective, and we really want to um, change this using groundwork that we have already done, and to make application for such grants slightly easier for our employees, including uh, uh, mm, speaking speaking at such events, because my colleagues and I can speak about many more cases. I don't know what I have in terms of time. I think I'm about to reach my time limit. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'm leaving my contact information here. I am actually located in Brussels, but I regularly travel to Vinnytsia. You can contact me and my colleagues from the um, Institute of City Development. If you're interested in details, again, social media pages, you can find the Institute and the liaison office. Um, you will be able to see all updates regarding the strategic decisions that I was talking about today. So if you have any questions, I am ready to answer them, and I hope that today's presentation was useful for you. So thank you again for your attention. Thank you, Maria. There are a lot of cases and they are all very inspiring. So thank you very much for sharing them. And I hope there will be an opportunity to listen to you again with new stories later. I will remind you that now you can write your questions in the chat. And if you want to speak about that, actually, you can ask your questions in person at our Q&A session after two presentations. Thank you, Maria. Now over to Carlos.
Okay, good morning. Thanks for the invitation. I will start to the presentation, but I think that Maria has already gave you important insights regarding European projects, and of course some insights about how to make a good application. So I will give you a brief presentation, not only about European financing programs, our experience here in the city of Guimarães with the Landscape Laboratory, but also a little bit about us, about this Center of Research. And of course, after the presentation, I will give you my contact, and I will be available to answer your questions, your doubts about the projects, about our team, and of course, about this kind of experience that we have in creating partnerships and in the implementation of a governance ecosystem that I think that it is really important besides the application for European financing programs. Maybe I can start just saying that I'm a believer that European fundings are essential, not just because of the money, but because of the personal training, the training of our technicians from the cities. And I think that before thinking about any project, it is very important to have a clear idea of the city's priorities and have a defined strategy so that the projects are successful. But I can start with a brief presentation about us, about the Landscape Laboratory. We are a research center and education center in the field of sustainability. So we have a dedicated team in the field of research and development, applied research in the fields of biodiversity, green areas, water management, and we have also a dedicated team for the area of education for sustainability, environmental education. And we support the municipality, the city of Guimarães, in all projects regarding sustainability. So the Landscape Lab, the Laboratório da Paisagem, it's a research center that was created by the city of Guimarães and also by the two most important universities in the north of the country. Maybe I can show you, I don't know if it will work, but I will try. I can show you just a little video about the Landscape Lab, and after I can give you some insights about this research center.
Sometimes you need to look closer to see further. At the Landscape Laboratory, we aim to stay close to whatever changes our world for the better. That's why, since 2014, we've been promoting environmental sustainability through scientific research and communication. Founded by the municipality of Guimarães and two of the main universities in northern Portugal, the University of Minho and the University of Trás-os-Montes and Alto Douro, the Landscape Laboratory now collaborates with other associated partners in its organization, and its activities have a local, regional, national and international scope. Each project at the Landscape Laboratory is built on three closely connected building blocks: research and education, project management and applications, and communication and environmental training. We develop innovative ideas in diverse areas such as climate, biodiversity, green areas and land use, water resources, circular economy, health and well-being, education for sustainability, and citizen science. We provide consulting services and training in various sustainability areas. We are experts in this field, always nearby and available to share knowledge with different institutions and audiences. And because all the knowledge produced at the Landscape Laboratory should be shared, we promote a wide range of environmental education activities for different audiences. By staying closer, we help future generations to see farther. A future with a more sustainable environment, where each of us can be a part.
Sorry. Okay. Just to confirm that the sound works, yes? Yes, okay. So as you can see, we are a research center that have 3 axes of action: research and education, project management, and also applications, and communication and training, because we believe that to transform or to accelerate the green transition or to transform the citizens, we need to improve the awareness in the community. So we are implementing different projects, different educational programs here to increase the scientific knowledge about the climate challenges. And regarding our main areas, of course, that we have projects in different areas, circular economy, green areas, and biodiversity and water resources. But we work in the different fields of sustainability in the Landscape Lab with a multidisciplinary team. So we have nowadays currently 20 researchers, landscape architecture, civil engineering, ecologists, biologists, so different fields in science, in sustainability, because we believe that having a multidisciplinary team is also important to improve our projects. Regarding the Landscape Lab, I can tell you that we are also a part of this governance ecosystem of the city. We are a part of the climate transition team of the city of Guimarães. We have a strong partnership between the municipality, but also with academia, with universities, and we have also a strong connection between our citizens, trying to implement different co-creation approaches, different strategies to improve participatory democracy and the engagement of our citizens. Of course, that we believe that it is important to increase and to improve the relationship between the academia, the municipality, and also the private sector. So we are developing different projects with the private sector, trying to improve their engagement, but also improve transparency and improve this kind of a partnership between the public sectors and the private sectors. As you can see also in the right, we are part of different European networks. We believe that being part of this kind of networks is also very important, not only for the project, not only for the European financing programs, but also for the city's strategy and for the city's commitment. So we are signatories of the Green City Accord. We are part of the European missions of soil, of adaptation, and also we are one of the 100 cities for climate neutrality. And we are also part of the European network Eurocities, and also WeClay. Regarding Eurocities, the Landscape Lab is also the chair of the working group Green Areas and Biodiversity. And this kind of networks is also essential for sharing knowledge between the cities, between the technicians, also between the politicians. We think that it is very important to increase the knowledge of the city and also our strategy. We are also part of different regional and national networks, but of course the European networks are most essentially for this kind of for the application for the European programs. Of course, that when we talk about the Landscape Lab, when we talk about European projects, we need to show that this kind of European funding programs were essential since 2012, more or less 2012, for the growth of the city, or for this climate journey that started in 2012, 2013. Guimarães was the European Capital of Culture in 2012, the European City of Sports in 2013, and in 2014 created the Landscape Lab to support the city in this climate path, in this climate journey. So in 2014 and 2015, we created also an educational program. This educational program is being replicated now in another country, in Brazil. So it is important to try to replicate our good practice in the different countries, not only European countries. Just to highlight that in 2022, we were selected as one of the 100 cities for climate neutrality, and it is also an European funding program that is really important also to achieve our objective, to achieve the climate neutrality. We are part of a pilot project that called District C, the Zero Carbon Commitment. It is a project, European project, that we received in 2023 to transform an area in the city center, UNESCO World Heritage area, and trying to transform this area in a zero carbon district in the fields of green areas, in the field of waste management, in the fields of energy and mobility. Guimarães is also trying to be the European Green Capital. We are waiting for the decision this year, but we were finalists also in the last year of the European Green Capital. And of course that for this climate journey, this European project that we will show you have been really important to achieve the main goal that we have now, that it's reducing carbon emission and protect our natural capital. So for this, of course, that these European financing programs have been real essential. And of course that we can say that the European Union offers a diverse array of funding programs for the different municipalities, also for non-profit associations, is the case of the Landscape Lab. Of course that when we try to see the different projects that we have now in the city, that we have now in the Landscape Lab, we can talk a little bit about the different or the diverse type of projects that the European Union can offer to the cities. Maria have already told you a little bit about some of them. Currently, we have a live project that I will talk after. We have Interreg projects with different European countries regarding biodiversity and green areas. So, for example, the case of Green Gap, it's a European project that we are part of, and we are trying to improve the green infrastructure, trying to improve the green connectivity in the city center. We have also another Interreg project about sustainable tourism, so that we are trying to measure the impact of tourism in the cities, and trying to find ways to monitoring the impact of tourism We have Interreg projects regarding the impact of plastics in the rivers, in the sea. We have URBACT projects in the fields of circular economy and also biodiversity. So these URBACT projects are very important to share knowledge between the cities and to engage the citizens, to create some of URBACT groups that can co-create different action plans for circularity, action plans for biodiversity. We are also part of the Intelligent Cities Challenge with a project with the city of Guimarães. We are also part of the Eurocities and different projects that we are developing now. And of course, that in the case of Horizon, we have now projects regarding energy efficiency. So we are talking about a diverse array of projects that are helping the city in this climate journey. Of course, that maybe it is important to highlight that for us, it is important, of course, participating in the different EU programs, but not only because of the money, but of course that the financial boost is very important. It's an opportunity for the municipalities, for the cities. It's an opportunity for us. But we think that one of the most important things of being part of the European programs are these kind of capacity building and networking opportunities. The capacity building, because we think that it's very important to improve the knowledge or the technical expertise of the different technicians of the city, for the different researchers, for the different teams. With this kind of projects, we are able to enhance the team skills and the capabilities to share the good practice between the other cities. And of course, the networking opportunities, because sometimes we can get a project, but this is not the end. It is the beginning of other projects, other opportunities, other collaborations that we can have with other cities. So I think that some of these networking opportunities are crucial in the developing of the cities. So just to say that when we talk with our team about funding opportunities, it is of course very important to develop a strong proposal, of course, that is aligned with your priorities. But it is also important that this kind of project, this kind of partnership is aligned with the city's strategy. I think that it is the most important to have a clear idea about the priorities of the city, the strategies of the city, to ensure that we can apply for this EU program, but that in the future, this EU program will give you a strong opportunity to improve the city and to improve the knowledge. And of course, that it is also important to find a strong partnership between different cities, between different partners, non-profit associations or the universities, to ensure that we are trying to design a strong partnership for this EU program and for other opportunities in the future. So the first step is define the clear objectives. It is very important to define the objectives, the expected outcomes of the project. Try to write the impact that we can get with this project, that the team has the capability to highlight the benefits of the project, that can bring to the community, to the local community, but also for the country and for the partnership, and that we are able to showcase the innovation of the project. The most important now, because we are talking about very competitive funding programs, so we need to showcase this innovation of our proposal, and also trying to show why we are trying to design this kind of partnership with these cities, with this inside of this project. So of course that for us, and regarding our experience in managing European projects, it is very important that we have that you can have a dedicated team for the projects. Of course, for the management of the project, for the financial issues, but also important the part of the communication of the project. The most important, one of the most important things of this kind of European grants is the way that the cities, the way of or the way for the communication of the project, the communication of the results of the project. So it is very important to have a communication team that can help you to disseminate the results and also to communicate to the local community the results of the project. So we have nowadays lots of projects that we showed before. The Horizon is the flagship program for research, for innovation, in the field of technology, but also in the field of scientific research. Of course, the LIFE program, it's also important because it is the only program only dedicated for environment, for climate action, that supports some innovative projects. And of course, the cohesion fund, that it's also very important for different cities in the field of sustainability, sustainable transport. So three the most important EU financing programs that the European Commission launch every year. Of course, just to highlight again, the strategies that we think that are very important for creating and for writing a good proposal, the partnerships, of course, but also the research. And when we say the research is to define the priorities, to make a good diagnosis about the city and the state of the art of the cities, the different partners, to try to write a good proposal that can be aligned with the city's priorities, the city strategies, but also the European priorities. And then, of course, that to maximize the impact of the funding, it is important that we can have a good type of monitoring system, evaluation approach to evaluate the impact of the project, evaluate the impact of the actions that we are proposing, and of course this kind of dissemination to can communicate the results, the findings, and explore the ways to replicate, scale up the initiatives that we are proposing. So just to finish with the highlight of two projects that we have now with Ukrainian cities. This last month we launched a project, a project with Ukrainian cities, the Zero Waste Cities project. We are talking about a project that is being coordinated with, by us, by the Landscape Lab, with different Ukrainian cities, also with different European, other European partners, Italian cities, German institutions, also two cities of Portugal, and of course that some of NGOs that will be important in the implementation of the projects in the different Ukrainian cities. So we have different objectives and tasks in the project. The first one is trying to have a kind of assessment phase, the diagnosis of the cities, to try to have an evaluation of current waste management system in the different Ukrainian municipalities, Ukrainian cities. Of course, that it is important again to use this kind of European projects to improve the capacity building of the technicians. So a key focus of the project is try to increase the knowledge, increase the skills of the technicians that are working with the waste management strategies. After we want to try to design a strategy, maybe a waste management strategy, a new waste management strategy based on the zero waste principles. So for this, it will be very important, the share of knowledge between the Ukrainian cities and the Portuguese and Italian cities also. And of course, the final phase involves implementing some pilot projects in these Ukrainian cities. So of course, by trying to just highlight these expected outcomes, we are talking about this kind of empowerment, local governments, empower local teams regarding the waste management systems. Of course, that we are trying to increase, to strengthen international cooperation and trying to improve or to implement innovative pilot projects regarding waste management. The other project that is the standard that with our colleagues of Lviv, Guimarães is one of the case studies, Lviv one of the followers. This standard project is trying to integrate climate adaptation and mitigation strategies. So with this kind of top-down and bottom-up approaches, just to highlight that we have different phases also in this project, in this kind of methodological framework, try to examine the interactions between the climate adaptation and the mitigation strategies at different scales, try to combine this kind of bottom-up approach and top-down approach, and of course to try to implement a framework to give to the cities different climate scenarios with the support with the universities, with the support of scientific research. So in this case, again, we are trying to act to work in different scales, the local scale, the national one, and try to create frameworks that can be used at the global scale. So we are just to finish that with a message for all cities, European projects, I think that are really important for the growth of the city, for development of the cities. Most important are really crucial for sharing knowledge between the technicians and between the researchers. With this kind of projects, we are now able, in the case of the Landscape Lab, we were created in 2014 with just 3 researchers, and now we have 20. And most of the money that we got, it's with this kind of European financing programs. But most important is this kind of networking that we are creating. The cities that we are that are now part of our partnerships, that are now part of this European networks that we of ICLEI and Eurocities. So of course that the money is really important, but I think that the most important is the training, is the cooperation, is the notion that we can improve our cities, but we need the others to learn, and we need the others to share our good practice, and it is easy to grow. It is easy to develop other cities if we are available to share our knowledge between the other European countries. And now, of course, I'm able to answer your questions. This is my email, so you can send me also emails with your doubts. And of course, if we need some detail about our projects, about our city, I'm also available to answer you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carlos, for this advice, for a lot of examples of projects and research. Our participants are writing in the chat that they are inspired. I already see that people are indeed getting interested. There is even an offer of cooperation in the chat. I will remind everyone that you see this is a potential networking opportunity. So you can not only ask questions, but also if you have an idea of partnership, do use this opportunity. Thank you once again, Carlos. And we are moving on to a third speaker, Maxim. Over to you now. Hello, thank you. I will share my screen as well. Do you see everything? It is still loading. Now we can see it. Yes, wonderful. Perfect. Okay, hello again. I am yes, hello. Again, I'm Maxim Terletsky. I am a representative of the Institute of the City in Lviv, and as part of this presentation, I will try to share the experience of our organization and project implementation of LIFE program and Interreg Europe program. These are initiatives and programs with which we have experience with project implementation. I will share briefly about Institute of the City. We are a municipal institution. We are a center of strategic planning development in Lviv. We mostly work with Lviv City Council, with the city, but we are also involved in other projects in other communities of Ukraine as well. Overall, our mission and functioning of our institute are to combine the efforts of municipal authorities, the business, expert communities, and citizens in order to accomplish the strategic goals of the city. Thus, we have 4 spheres in which we work. These are maybe not spheres, these are our areas of expertise: strategic planning and management of cities. This is development of solutions to accomplish strategic goals, establishing partnerships and cooperation between stakeholders to achieve strategic goals of city development. And of course, without analysis of the needs and challenges, everything else is impossible. As of now, we have several areas of our work. One of the biggest ones is the integrated development of the city, which is based on the Leipzig Charter the Green Deal. We are mostly working on the vectors of mobility and the energy connected with the Green Deal. But also the project that Carlos mentioned is also about adapting to climate change. And this is also something that we are working on. As for sustainability of the city and resilience of the city, we are talking about resilience to climate change and to hostilities. Economically, we are trying to form economic clusters and to encourage the development of innovation. We are also promoting lifelong learning. We are encouraging education for adults because if people are constantly studying, it is something that is that's something that makes the city more resilient, essentially, and helps us implement our strategic plans. So, like I already mentioned, we are basing our work on the Leipzig Charter, on the European Green Deal, also global sustainable development goals. But all of this is also aligned with the strategic goals of Lviv. We are now preparing for the Green Deal because we are talking about support programs of the European Union. So I will not dwell on this probably, but this is just so that you understand what European Green Deal is. It is a communique that was issued by the European Commission, and at one point, these are 8 areas about increasing climate ambition. It is clean, affordable, and secure energy. It is industry for a clean and circular economy. It is also energy and resource efficient buildings, sustainable smart mobility, especially in cities, farm to fork organization of, how shall I put it, the use of food products in a way that would not be harmful to the environment. It is biodiversity and ecosystems, and also zero pollution, toxic-free environment. Thus, understanding these general European goals, we also started developing a vision in Lviv back in 2019, a vision of a climate neutral development of Lviv by 2050 in order to synchronize our strategic plans with the European projects and programs and with the strategic plan of the European Union. So we identified 4 key strategic areas. This is energy, mobility, zero waste, and spatial development. And in each of these strategic areas, we have a developed plan. When it comes to it's either concept or other strategic documents. As for spatial development, this is a concept of integrated development of Lviv that is now under discussion. There will be also a comprehensive plan of spatial development. In the energy sector, we have SICAP, Sustainable Energy Action Plan. In terms of mobility, we have Sustainable Urban Mobility Plan or SUMP. And in the zero waste sector, we also have the GCAP project, and I think we are going to implement more projects still in the future. Thus, the nature of our work to implement all these strategic plans, it is obviously implemented by municipal units, but also we understand that sometimes we don't have all the knowledge and understanding of what needs to be done, what solutions need to be implemented. This is where European projects, European Commission projects are really helpful through cooperation with partners that develop innovative solutions that are similar to the landscape lab that Carlos mentioned.
Cooperation with innovative centers and research centers in Europe, we are preparing the projects for submission to the European Commission. project. I agree that it is important to take part in these projects, not only to attract funding, also it helps us to have a team of high-skilled professionals, but it also the partnership which allows you to have the partnerships to implement things in your communities. And it is a good motivation to take part in the projects of European Union. It's a good motivation apart from funding. So Horizon Europe program in 2019, we started program with Horizon 2020, which was the predecessor of this program. It is still ongoing. One of our first challenges at this project was the Sparks project. We had strategic help. The aim was to synchronize our strategic plans with European Union plans. Also, it's promoting technologies for energo-positive districts. We're talking about sustainable energy, renewable energy sources, smart management for energy consumption and provision, and mobility, electrical mobility, to reduce the emissions in the cities. So for Lviv city, we're developing the plan from digital model of the city. And as of today, Lviv is modeling the solutions for to reduce the CO2 emissions, carbon emissions. This tender is a follower city in this project. It's a Horizon Europe project. In terms of communication, it's not very popular, but the idea was to develop high quality strategies for the cities to adapt to the climate change based on the data. This is not only for the cities, we have partners at the regional level and national level. The latest activities on this project is a workshop on the development and adaptation of the strategy. The big projects that started in May, you can. Maria has mentioned about it. This is a project aimed to enhance the interaction between the cities that are part of the mission of the CNSC mission. And we want to make sure that as many departments as possible within the different sectors of work or in our community to be ready to implement European projects and adjust our local policies to approximate them to the directives of the European Union. And also, we take part in UCAN projects, the coordination of work with other cities of Ukraine within the project aimed for 4 years. An important area of implementation of European projects are the projects we are joining as the cities that is borrowing practices from employing practices from other cities. It can be a follower city program or networking within the projects. Several initiatives has been launched. Scale up. This is the mobility solutions. Relocate. another project for sustainable mobility, with the framework of which we cooperate with other cities. We receive funding only for the business trips in order to be able to see the best practices implemented in Antwerp, for example. In Barcelona, we also had trips to other European cities, and Diva Art City H 2020. It's about different art tools that are used in the cities to make the cities more child-friendly and to adapt to the climate changes. And our partner city in this, we are cooperating a lot, is Bucharest. And as a result of us being very active in networking, about a month ago, we joined CiviNet, European Initiative, Civitas, the initiatives that working on sustainable mobility. And now there is an idea to create a secretariat CiviNet in Ukraine. And we received the information that the Institute of the City will launch the secretariat in Ukraine, and we will be able to invite other cities to join to exchange the best practices of sustainable mobility. Program Life, it's a little bit different. Horizon Europe is all about innovation and research. Life program is about best practices of innovation implementation. They are interconnected, but maybe the projects are a bit less ambitious. Important criteria of the projects being implemented within Life program is they should be in line with with the European directives. There is a European Energetic Directive, and it is important for us to make sure that plans of our communal enterprises correspond to energetic directives on the buildings, requirements to the buildings and other facilities available in the European Europe, and support this heating and cooling. This is a project for cooling and heating, centralized cooling and heating in the cities. Within the framework of this project, we are implementing the solutions for decarbonization, and as to the energy efficiency and an improvement of the situation, this is being funded by USAID within the project of heat supply for European cities. We have the consortium of partners, and we are actively working. We've been actively working with them. And for 1 year, when we decided to apply for another life project, but Lviv city was not able to participate anymore. That's why we selected 2 other cities, and we're going to cooperate with them actively. It's Poltava town and Street town in Lviv region, and enabling district heating cooling project. We already signed the agreement, and this will be a solution for heat supply enterprises in Poltava and Stry. The aim is transform them to make to bring them in compliance with the requirements of European directives. Also, with these 2 projects, within these 2 projects, we will have follower cities. There will be another cities that will follow our experience. Now we will do scale up and relegate, and then other solutions that we're going to implement in the cities chosen will be scaled up for the other cities. So we invite the interested cities to apply. Also, we joined one of the European projects in the LIFE project in order to engage to Ukrainian communities and provide them with support. Tomorrow we will announce which communities these are going to be within the framework of this project. We will build the cooperation between the organization, which are the part of this consortium at the European level, and Ukrainian cities. So please follow this project to check what solutions will be proposed and what will be the possibilities to join to these European practices. And the last but not least, the program we have started working with recently since April. It's Interact Europe. There is also Interact Trans-border cooperation. We are now talking about Interact Europe, about the development of policies to develop the communities in the regions. And within the framework of this program, we managed to join 2 existing projects. Last week, we received the confirmation from European Commission that the city can be the partner of this program with the relevant budget. So it's a focus project for regional and local mobility planning, focusing on inclusion decisions. It will be dealing with the safety of the traffic in city. And second, we are going to develop some regulatory solutions that will enable us to develop the electrical transport under the conditions when we have constant power shutoffs, which is a great challenge both for Lviv and other cities. Also, we have Spotlock program, green and social responsible city logistic innovations. There can be different models that can be implemented. Spotlock is about the policies in the field of logistics development within the city. Our plan of a sustainable city mobility didn't work very well for delivery, for example. We plan to develop some additional solutions that will allow us to develop a good delivery and logistics plan within Lviv community. So what is important in order to work effectively with European Union programs? First of all, you have to have a document, a strategy, long-term or mid-term strategy. You have to be able to show that it's not one-time event, but it's a long strategy which has aims which are in line with European programs, European aims. And when you have this document, when you're applying, you can very easily show that your project aim is in line with the targets of the European Union projects. Second approach is communication first, then transfer of the knowledge, and then common projects. It is very important to understand the state of the art first.
It's about where European communities are there, what solutions are currently on the agenda. Because essentially, we want to go beyond the state of the art, beyond what exists now. Ukrainian communities often have solutions about some purification equipment or, you know, mm, uh, uh, Technologically, it is difficult to receive grants for such solutions, especially as part of Horizon program or such programs. So essentially, first we try to build communication to understand who works with what. This facilitates the formation of partnerships. I sent a few suggestions to Carlos now. This is in order to ensure this transfer of knowledge, because we both spoke how important it is to share knowledge. And when we understand and know what we want, we only then do we start a big project. The third approach is that if you have one project, it is not important to focus on that. One project it can be a consortium of several organizations, up to 30 even in our case, that constantly think of new solutions. So a project is essentially a community in which you work for a year or a few years. And this gives you an opportunity to later implement more projects with the same partners. So actively participate, even if they are monthly or weekly calls. Very often people find this very boring because sitting on calls is just seems not very interesting, but do try to be active. Thank you. Perhaps if you have some suggestions or remarks, please feel free to contact me now or via this email. Thank you very much. I also have a lot of interesting projects. We are working on them together with some of the people in our audience. Thank you to our speakers for these interesting, inspiring examples with interesting ideas and suggestions. We are moving on to the Q&A session. Perhaps while you were listening, you had some comments or partnership ideas. You can write them in the chat or you can say it. The first question in the chat, I will read it. It says we have the largest number of IDPs in the contemporary history of humankind. How are their needs integrated in the needs of the cities that provide the presentations? I guess we can ask Marie and Maxim that. If you have an answer to that question, please do. But maybe Carlos also wants to say something about that. Well, let me try. Let me try to respond. First of all, internally displaced persons. Of course, this is a separate group that can be identified. We have an operational comprehensive plan of IDP integration, but we also perceive these people as part of our Venetia community. And when we are creating some project solutions for the city, they are primarily for citizens. They are meant for the community to feel fine on the territory of the city. I don't think we separate these issues. Overall, in some projects, when we file them, for instance, I mentioned the EU for Culture project, we applied together with NGOs in the city, and some NGOs also have members that are IDPs. So I would say we don't necessarily separate this. These projects are just implemented in the interest of our citizens, whoever they are. I don't know if I was able to answer your question, but this is how I see it. Okay, thank you. I can add in terms of Lviv, when we think about the implementation of projects within European missions and programs, the issue of integration of IDPs is less visible here. I think the biggest vector of our activity that is focused on the integration of IDPs. We have about 150,000 IDPs, according to the data of mobile operators, although 100,000 people left Lviv. So we have a new structure of the city. We understand that we need to work on integration, we need to work on inclusion of these people. And we have this understanding that one of the ways to integrate these people, to include them, can be this lifelong learning vector. Because by developing education centers in Lviv, we essentially launched processes to provide people with education that they need. And thus, on the one hand, we were able to meet people's learning needs. And on the other hand, I would say we are working on the integration of people through this learning, because people meet other people at those events, they have social interaction, and this contributes to the communication between people. These are courses of at least 16 hours, so this gives people time to adapt to what is happening. We have 10 libraries in the city where these courses function. Over 10,000 people have already taken these courses, and now we are scaling it up, especially when it comes to inclusion of people in the community. I think this may be very interesting. And if somebody is interested in this in more detail, I can share the contacts of my colleague who is responsible for the learning vector. And also we work as part of the UNESCO Learning City program, so that helps.
Maybe just add regarding this question. It's just because of course you know better the moment, but of course we are talking about different realities at the moment, but we are also probably at the moment that when the opportunities are appearing, and that will increase the possibility of the cooperation between Ukrainian cities and other European cities, as the latest calls have shown us. And I believe that moments like this are also important, because it is also a moment to try to plan, to strengthen education as the basis of the society. And there are also moments when these partnerships can help build a different future. But as I said, all the proposals have to be in aligned with the city's priorities in order to make sense. But just to highlight about this cooperation, for example, at the Landscape Lab, we hosted an Ukrainian researcher in the lab regarding the program of launched also by the European Union. And it was also an important moment to create new partnerships for the present, but also for the future. So sometimes these kind of projects, this kind of European funding programs are also important to prepare the future.
If I may, I would like to add, because I see there is a next question here about housing and jobs. Look, first of all, I want to say that these issues are not organized within European projects. This is about the general strategy of the city regarding IDPs. And according To the integration plan, we have three key priorities: housing, job, and retraining. And in every vector in Vinnytsia, we have a working group that specifically works on these three areas. For instance, with housing, we have a program of municipal housing where you can also work officially and apply. This is a separate sphere. It is very important in terms of integration and work with IDPs, but specifically in Vinnytsia, we haven't had a case yet where we would handle some of these vectors specifically through international projects. I think that's an interesting issue. And we can try to think about how we can engage IDPs through cultural projects, for instance, supported by the EU or other partners. But at the current stage, the issue of IDPs is more about the general strategic questions in the city. I also want to add a little bit. I see a clarification, the question about housing and jobs. The housing issue, we have a situation in Lviv where we have active construction of new housing in Lviv, probably due to Yasela program. Also, it functions in the city and beyond the city. There is also temporary housing. Uh, and these projects of temporary housing provide women who are pregnant, women with young children with housing. We have a sort of a dormitory for IDPs in one area of the city. We also saw the need for housing for people who undergo rehabilitation, because this often takes a year or even more. And the European Commission supported us with construction of housing for people and families of people who undergo rehabilitation. As for providing jobs, our current policy is that our economy is developing a little. So this is also related to our project on lifelong learning. Because we are using the referral program in Lviv, and the idea here is that people should be able to receive consultations and advice on how to prepare a CV or how to take other steps that will enable them to find a job. We have this referral system set up currently between centers of mental health, centers of lifelong learning, and centers of unemployment. So these are organizations that are helping people find a job, and I cannot say a lot about this. It's not exactly my profile. I need to read more about this. I didn't prepare for these questions, but this is a rather effective way to work based on the feedback that we received from IDPs and from our citizens.
And the second question regarding participation in the LIFE program, whether it is obligatory to have 2 international partners, I would say 5 is obligatory. If you have only 2, I think your chances are rather low. 5 to 11. And if you can show more is better, because LIFE program in European Union programs are aimed at European Union. They're not targeted at Ukraine or a specific city. They are targeted at European Union. So you need to show good partnership, good developed partnership. partnership, for example, between Portugal and Ukraine, different regions in Europe, like Western Europe, Central Europe, inclusion of different contexts. For example, Stapor District Heating and Cooling is a project that has its aim to transform the heat supply enterprises in Europe, not in Ukraine, not in Lviv, in Europe. We are just one part of it. We're a partnering institution that is doing something and providing consultations and implementation. But we have German companies, Austrian companies, Lithuanian companies, any other companies. It's a typical practices for European Union, because European Union programs are funding European projects, and we have to keep this in mind. So 2 is not enough. Based on the recommendation of our partners, and we have a lot of experience of cooperation with them, starting from 5, preferably 10 partners and within one consortium. And if you don't have enough partners, yes, it is possible that you will be refused. So we are preparing right now educational materials for live program for everyone to understand what it is about and what kind of projects can be applied for it. Also, we will outline our experience of Institute of the City, and we are planning to distribute more of such materials.
Yeah, just to say that I agree with Maxim. It is most of the time it is not mandatory, but it's very, very important. We have now 2 live, one of them with 14 partners, and the other one with 8-10 partners, because with 2 NGOs. So it is very important to have different partners with the different countries, because it's also a very competitive. It is a very competitive funding program.
Thank you very much for your replies, for your pieces of advice regarding partnership. Maybe there are any other questions you would like to ask to our speakers. Please use this opportunity now. If there are no questions, I will ask a question about the partnership. This is the question to all 3 of you about new partnerships. What would you advise to our colleagues from the communities, where they should look for the partners, how they should establish partnerships, if they need new partners or if they don't have partners at all yet? What do we start with? Who's going to be first? Well, since you are muted, you can be first. Well, first of all, the basic thing you have to start with to find some international partners is to understand why you need this international partnership, what you as a community want to receive from this international partnership, whether it's going to be general brotherhood program, if it's, for example, if you want to make a partnership with Stockholm, but you are a small community, like your size will be irrelevant. You will not be able to match, like you will not be named brotherhood cities. So you have to think like what you want this partnership for, like brother city or fellow city. So you have to think what is the size of your community, city, town, and then looking for a town or city of relevant size. Not only European Union, because we have fellow cities in, for example, US and other regions. Start Googling, think which communities, which cities can be of interest for you, and then try to analyze what this city is doing? Do you have some similar projects? Can you offer the cooperation within the framework of this project? So this is when you can connect the cities and communities directly. And I agree with Maxim. He mentioned this, that such international projects is a field for networking. You can find new partners each time you're applying somewhere, you are undergoing some training. Doesn't matter what this is. There is a team of new people and they can be your potential partners. So you have to analyze it and think with whom you can establish this partnership, and then you have to communicate with each of them separately if you see that there is a potential for interaction. And third, you can look for the partners through the association. It was mentioned, the Alliance of European Cities and Regions, and I recommend you to check this possibility because this alliance, the information on this alliance is completely open. Any Ukrainian community can join it. There are more than 130 associated partners, including European cities and regions. You can contact them and say that we are together in alliance with you, would like to cooperate, or through the networks as Eurocity. But this is a bit different story because this if to join this network, you have to make an official application, and this procedure can take some time. So there can be different approaches to looking for partners directly through projects, through different associations. And also there are a lot of associations in Ukraine. Please don't forget about that. We have Ukrainian Association of the Cities, Ukrainian Associations of Communities, a lot of others. And these associations have different partners you can potentially cooperate with. So the main thing is to understand what is your aim, what project you want to cooperate on, what result you want to achieve, and then you have to choose which approach will be the best for you and which of the partner is of most interest for you. This is what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Can I start? Yeah. Okay. Just to highlight more or less the same. I think that networks like Eurocities and eClay can assist you in finding partners. We frequently receive requests and also help in finding partners through our networks, for example, regarding green areas, energy, and biodiversity. But what Maria mentioned, I think, is crucial. It's more important to understand the type of partner we need in terms of their location, of the type of the city, the best practice, and the specific reason for needing that partner. I think that because a good partnership needs to be clearly explained in the proposal, including the innovation it brings. It's not just about a group of cities, but rather about finding partners who share common objectives and also challenges. But of course, if you have a good idea, if you have some partners, but you need to increase the partnership. Of course, moments like this and some cities can help you. And if you need something, we can help you in the different networks that we are part of.
Yeah, let me add, the most important thing in communication with the others is to get into the communication which is already existing. Any European project, Life Horizon, Interact Europe, each of this program has dissemination and communication package. Within this package, there are different events aimed at raising awareness, talking about this project, communicating the results. The KPI of the projects, since they're being implemented in different cities, is the dissemination of results. So I can reassure you that any project, European Union project, will be happy if you pop up at their webinar conference and if you ask some interesting questions and if you will be interested in their experience. Well, during COVID, it was a golden time for such type of work because everything was online. And it's important not only to sit there and listen, but to talk about your practices, about your solutions. Because when we were talking, for example, about the engagement of the citizens into the transformation of the city spaces and decision making, the colleagues from other cities were telling what was going on there, and they said like 200, 300 people were taking part. And I was able to say, like, we had a workshop in which 2,000 of people participated. And then people got interested and they wanted to know more about our case. And this is how it works. That's why it's important to take part in different events, to read posts in LinkedIn, to comment on them if you have time, because all the projects are usually highlighted in LinkedIn and in Twitter, or how is it called now, X. So you have to understand what is your area of interest and then find a project that is already implemented in the European Union on this topic. Also, you can subscribe to newsletters. Every month you will know what kind of events are taking place. This is the first stage. So build up your communication, and then a lot of projects have this possibilities to become fellow city or associated partner of the network or whatever. So you will have access not only to the people speaking on the webinar, but to the whole consortium, and you would be able to communicate directly with the representatives of different organizations. And third option, trust associated partner format. This is the participation in the consortium, but without funding, as Vinnytsia City, as Maria said. There is a possibility to join. You claim that you have some ideas to implement in your community, but you want to find out more information, or you have a small project in within the framework of some ministry of or etc., and you already have some developments in hand and you want to scale them up. So having this small project, you can come to the consortium and to become a part of the bigger project. And after these 3 levels, then people will start coming up to you and propose you their partnership. And there are different projects. For example, this standard project, as Lviv, we were a case study. It was on the 15th of February 2022, and the coordinators of the European Commission decided that it will be too risky to have case study in Lviv because everybody was talking about the possibility of full-scale invasion, and they decided to decrease risk. So we became follower city. So you can start as a follower city, someone who is employing the practices, borrowing the practices, then you can get the status of a case study or a lighthouse city when you demonstrate to the others what you are able to do in your city. And a work package leader, it's a very big achievement. For example, we have grown to this, and we think that in 5 years of work with European grants, it's a good achievement. So these are the steps You have to go step by step, but there are different opportunities that pop up from time to time. So try to build up different opportunities. Now, as I said, we launched CiviNet Secretariat in Ukraine, and this is gives you access to a lot of projects. Also, there are forums that takes place in Civitas, in Resilience. Last week in Valencia, there were 3 forums, and there were all the projects, European projects, major European projects. Right now, the projects are being combined into clusters, and clusters have additional communicational possibilities. So such events are very helpful, but you need to be a little bit more active, including financially, to be able to cover your business trips. What is also important about Horizon programs, it's about research and innovation. And you have to look to the think tanks, innovation centers, to contact them and to try and discuss some common programs. Speaking of life, there are some practical innovation centers or consulting companies you can contact. There are a lot of them in the Europe, and they are looking for the cities where some cities can be implemented. This is about life project. About Interact Europe, it's a very interesting program. Interact Europe has 2 components. One of them is about projects, and the beneficiaries can be those who can take part in the projects. And there is a separate block of Interact Europe program, and they work on the dissemination of best practices in the Europe. And the second component is more interesting because if you have some interesting practice of policy, you can share it with the others. And if you're interested with some policies being implemented in some other European cities, you can write to Interact Europe and they will organize webinar, study visit, or something else because they have resources to do that and they have budgets. So it's a bit different than Life in Horizon. So within Interact Europe, there are some additional possibilities and it's worth using them if you're interested in more detailed information. Please feel free to contact me. Thank you very much. I would like to thank everyone. So our event is coming to the end. We are very grateful to Maria, Carlos, and Maxim for your presentations and your valuable pieces of advice and replies. We hope that today's event made it a bit more clear for you how to apply for funding of the European Union programs, and our dear colleagues from communities are even more inspired to continue or to start working in this area. And SADAS, we are going to provide consultative support to 10 communities very soon. And we will consult them on their application for EU funding. There will be a competitions. Please follow our networks, social networks and website. We will inform you about everything. I hope you have noted the contacts of our speakers. We will send the presentations. The recording of the meeting will be available and all the slides as well. We will hope that this webinar will be useful for you. Take care and see you soon.